For existing startups, large and small, there's oftentimes a disconnect between what the goals of the company are and what the engineering team is actually working on. There is a role that solves this problem, and it's called the CTO. And I want to talk about the impact that a CTO can have on your business, large or small, and not what it can have, but what it should have, all the way from the company targets, revenue goals, business objectives, all the way down to what the developers are actually working on. I call this the CTO Pyramid, and let's go. First thing we talk about is the revenue targets for a company. So companies want to grow, companies want to add revenue. So at the top of the pyramid, I like to put a dollar amount. What are we chasing? What growth are we chasing? And CTO is at the table when that discussion is being had. Then what that translates into, of course, for everybody, is a budget. What am I going to spend in order to help us get to those revenue targets? In the role of a CTO, that means what team am I going to put in place in order to help us implement and do what is necessary to hit that target? Tech revenue. We have revenues, we have a budget, and we have a team that we're going to use to implement that. So that is the top of the pyramid. The role of a CTO is first and foremost a business role that is allocated a budget, that spends money on a team to help achieve the revenue targets. So moving on from the top of the pyramid, we move to the back layer: business objectives, actions, and technology. So first of all, business objectives, wrestling match in the C-suite. What objectives are we going to set that are actually going to help us reach our revenue target? Secondly, CTO takes that, wrestles with their team to figure out what technical actions are going to roll up and actually implement the business objectives, and then the technology that gets delivered in conjunction with the product teams. What technology is actually going to help us, again, roll up to our business objectives that rolls up to our revenues? What happens next is something I talk about a lot in my other videos. It's called the Sentinel. So we have our technical actions nestled in with the technology we're going to deliver, the business objectives we're trying to achieve, and we now do the Sentinel, the 4 S's. Speed. For each action, we ask, how do we speedily deliver? What is the scope? How do we work on this? What does it entail? How do we deliver that action? The second thing we ask is, how does this stretch the organization? What contractors do we have to bring in? What talent do we have to hire? What teams do we have to put in place in order to work on that action? Thirdly, what threats potentially exist to our organization if we either overextend ourselves to do this, or if we inadvertently create IP or technology that could potentially be a threat to us in the future? How do we shield our organization? And then my delicious cross-functional S, sales. How does this action actually contribute towards the sales department, the product department? It's the cross-functional S, where we work closely with the other departments to figure out how this action, the implementation of this action, what that actually looks like in the rest of the organization. So again, let me just quickly say, business objectives translate into technology actions. For each of those actions, we're going to do the 4 S's: speed, shield, speed, stretch, shield, and sales. So let's take an A1. We don't know what the 4 S's are. So now we go, hey, teams, we have to implement something. What does it look like to us to deliver it speedily? What does it look like for us? Do we have the talent we need to implement that? How do we protect our organization while we do that? And how do we educate the other functions in the company when this has been done? So, CTO pyramid, the impact that a CTO should have on your organization, from revenues all the way down to literally what the developers are working on.